Verse affects your friend, your family, and everyone that you know. I mean, the entire generality of the persons that we love, the persons that we meet, whether strangers, as long as they share the same identity as we do. As Nigerians, these are the matters that we talk about. I mean, over the weekend, we've seen issues of, issues of hardship, issues that border around quite a number of societal issues, and quite a plethora of it, has quite been going on. But then it is our job to ensure that we keep and continually speak truth to justice, to the leaders as well, in a bid to ensuring that we are able to speak against a narrative that is deafening us, that is holding us captive, putting us into captivity, and changing that narrative so that posterity will indeed be sufficient for a generation that is yet to come, right? My name is Edward Daniel, and today on Eagles Outlook, we'll be looking at Nigeria food crisis. I mean, it's quite a lot to talk about, right? Just recently, we've had, talks about Nigerians saying that we are, under siege. As much as we are under siege in terms of the insecurity, the kidnappings and all of that, we are also under siege. This one is very much general in the sense that each and every, part of the country are experiencing some hardship, which many believe was handed down to us at the proclamation of subsidy removal. But many have seen that as a blessing, while others do not, think it's a blessing. And we've also seen another hardship that has come from the place of the power sector, electricity, precisely, where there has been a hike, in the price of electricity. We've also seen some hike in terms of gas as well. Yeah, quite a number of hike is going on, and it is believed that all of these culminates into where we are, or spiraled into, or snowballed into where we are today. But then the bane of it, the height of it would be, food, very essential. I mean, the price of commodity has gone high. If you recall, in January 2023, UNICEF had projected that Nigeria's food crisis would escalate with nearly 25 million people at risk, of facing hunger between June of 2023 and August of that same year. Now, factors that contributed, to this crisis at the time included conflict. It also included there were talks about climate change, how it affected the world globally, and then inflation, which of course we're still finding up until now. At the time it was 29 point something. Now it's about 31.70% inflation. The rise in food prices, and even the widespread flooding, of 2023 that damaged farmlands across the country. Now, it was at that time there were also calls about the need for immediate action, deemed necessary to prevent a potentially catastrophic situation. Now, if you fast forward to February 2024, the food crisis in Nigeria also persisted, despite previous warnings. And that is the thing. It is always about the issue of, hey, if we faced something before and we narrowly escaped it, or we somewhat managed it, not free of the fact that people did not, lose their precious lives, in the course of managing such situation. I mean, we should be able to safeguard and prepare for a rainy day, prepare for a time, such that we are able to avert such a circumstance. But we have mostly been very reactionary rather than being proactive. And it's quite very sad, with ongoing conflicts here and there, exacerbated by, climate change and economic instability. The situation remained quite dire. right? With everybody running, scampering, helter skelter, trying to find a resolution for the challenges that we faced, and there was a need for urgent and sustained action to address the root causes of food insecurity, and it became increasingly evident as millions also continue to face hunger and malnutrition. Now, we are in April of 2024, and it seems as though the food crisis is bringing the citizens of the nation to their knees. Now, despite previous warnings and efforts to address the situation, Nigeria is still grappling. We are still grappling with a severe food shortage. And this is affecting not just one person, it's affecting millions. Millions of Nigerians are being affected. Now, there are some states that have been worst hit by the food crisis, and I'm talking about recent development. I'm not talking about, past developments now. I'm talking about recent development. States like Adamawa, Borno, Yobe, Bauchi, Kaduna, Katsina, Zamfara, Sokoto, Cross River, Edo State, River State, Kano, Niger State, Kogi State, Plateau State, as well as Benue State. Even the Federal Capital Territory is not excluded. These states are among, states that are facing acute food nutrition crisis, according to projections and reports on the situation. But I can tell you for sure that aside these states, there are, in fact, the entire country is experiencing, this tragedy, this pain, this, hunger that is, engulfing, Nigeria at the moment. Although there has been also some strides by the federal government to seeing that something is done, palliatives and all of that, interventions, various interventions and all, but then it still seems as though these are not enough. Well, we'll be joined by our guest via phone call in the person of Comrade Gerald Okachi, right? He's the National Coordinator Initiative Against Human Rights Abuse and Torture. Also, he's a National Secretary, Committee for the Defense of Human Rights, that is the CDHR. And I'd like to put it this way: he's a human rights activist, a public affairs commentator, and social analyst. Comrade Gerald Okachi, welcome to Eagles Outlook this morning.
Oh yes, a very good morning to you and to Eagles FM, the best radio station in FCT Abuja. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. That is indeed an accolade. Right, comrade, we are looking at matters that concern the food crisis. Yeah, I know this is not new to you, because as much as it affects me, it affects you, it affects somebody it affects probably the people, your neighbor or something, right? It affects almost everybody, right? And as it stands right now, according to recent projection, there are some states that are indeed in experiencing this. I mean, many analysts have said that Nigeria generally is experiencing a hunger crisis at the moment, right? But there are some states that have been pegged to be those states that are worst hit, like Adamawa, Borno, Yobe, Bauchi, Kaduna, Katsina, Zamfara, Sokoto, Cross River, Edo, Rivers, Kano, Niger, Kogi, Plateau, Benue, and even the FCT is not excluded from it. Now, let's connect the concerns, of these issues and projections, right, on the show this morning about the food crisis, right? With projections indicating that 31.5 million people in 26 states are at risk of facing acute food and nutritious crisis. The scale of the problem is staggering. You would agree with me. Now, the matter in question would be, how do you think that the government has effectively managed the food crisis in Nigeria, such as we're a large-scale crisis, and ensuring that aid reaches those who need it the most? Even when the government has said that there has been some sort of palliative here and there, to ensuring that the situation is ameliorated. What, in your own take, would you say as an assessment of the situation so far?
Well, To be honest, the UNICEF projection of Nigerian food crisis as of January last year, 2023, was targeted to make the Nigerian state to wake up on a food security. Is rather unfortunate and painful that over a year after this prediction, we have gone way above the UNICEF projection with regards to negative indices or effect of this projection. This year alone, the Nigerian state have lost avoidable debt. We have lost citizens that are very, very avoidable with regards to this food crisis, from Nasarawa to Lagos to Niger and the many other states.
That's right.
And one of the disheartening impact of these losses is that we are losing our bright futures, the youth that are undergoing training, that has a lot of perspective in the future. And if we had, honestly speaking, taken heed to this projection, these things can be very, very avoided. It's very, very avoidable, and we can actually not find ourselves where we are today with regards to food crisis. Honestly, as a people, as a nation, we have not really done much, and it appears like the future with regards to food crisis is not really bright as we would want to see. Take for example, in Netherlands, Holland, they are one of the top 5 exporters of agricultural products of food.
In Holland?
In the whole world.
Okay.
Yes, Holland, and in that Holland, the landmass of Holland is not up to Niger State.
The landmass is not up to Niger State.
Country is not up to Niger State, one state in Nigeria. And they are making huge impact. You take another look with regards to Ukraine. Ukraine are fighting war with Russia, fighting for their life. But they are still exporting food.
I don't mean to cut you. If you recall that some time ago, the Ukrainian government said they were going to donate grains to us at that time.
Yes.
It really caused a brouhaha.
Not just to us, even to some other African countries, and people that are in distress, donating to us. It looks as if our situation is appears to be more worse than theirs. In other words, we are supposed to be the ones, extending hand of fellowship or aid, or doing intervention to see possible solution to their challenges with regards to the war they are in. But rather, in other ways, people that are fighting war are the ones donating food to us. It looks awkward. But nevertheless, we are not the only ones that they gave that aid to. There are other African countries that receive the same aid.
Okay.
But that's to tell you the level of crisis we find ourselves with regards to food. And I think the situation, there are a lot of rooms for improvement. The situation can be improved upon. A situation where you have a Minister of Agric, in some cases you go to their budget, they are partly deviating from what that minister is supposed to do.
Right.
In the past, we have the immediate past government of President Muhammad Buhari. You have reports that sometimes the ministry will go out to be building places of worship as against securing food. Making sure that food security, making sure that we are self-sufficient with regards to food. It becomes a misplacement of priority.
Right.
So it's unfortunate, but I believe there are hope. If you look at the name states you mentioned, about 16, or over 26% of them, most of them are in the north, and these are the places that we look up to that are supposed to command the food chain of this country. Even worse hit is the basket food of the nation, which is the Benue.
Right, even Benue, and
I,
that is very disturbing. And that even Benue State is also affected, in this regard. And we already
yes,
know that is no news that insecurity is also part of, the menace that is causing this, issue
oh yes, oh
ongoing.
yes, oh yes. Insecurity is part of it, but then you ask yourself, are they the only ones that are facing insecurity?
Right.
There's no region in this country that is not facing insecurity as we talk now.
Mm-hmm.
Even though that the situation with regards to insecurity, the government, the current government is on top of it. There have been a lot of improvement in that area, but they are not the only one. You ask yourself, those 10 out of the 36 states that are doing well with regards to food security,
Mm-hmm.
what are they doing different? What are they doing different from what others are doing?
Right.
Of course, you talk about government interventions with regards to palliative and other things they have been doing. Recently, I've seen some governors, doing a lot with regards to those palliative, and I give them thumbs up. The governor of Borno, that's the Prof. Governor Zulum, the governor of Niger State. I think a few weeks ago, about 2 weeks ago, thereabout, or 3 weeks ago, almost entire week was shut down just to distribute this food. I give them thumbs up, but then there are plenty we need to do. It's not in the giving palliative, it's not in doing interventions.
Right.
If you give somebody fish, you don't teach the person how to, fish. You are creating more problem, because the person, if he depends on you for palliative, what happens when the palliative is no longer there?
That's the big question. What happens when the palliative is no longer there? And that takes us to the impact of inflation itself. I mean, Comrade Kachi, the high food inflation, rate, which stood at, that was in 2023. It stood at 33.93% in December of 2023. It has worsened the situation, making it increasingly difficult for families to afford basic necessities. Right? And then it brings us to the question of what exactly are we putting in place in terms of measures, that can be implemented to stabilize the prices and make food more affordable for the average citizen.
Well, one cannot doubt the impact of inflation, as noticed in almost every activities across the food chain or food value.
Yeah.
And of course, we can agree with me that everybody's having the overall impact on this food crisis.
Mm-hmm.
And such impact has transcended from the increase in the cost of production to the reduction in purchasing power.
Right.
And this impact, this is where government comes to play. If we are facing a food crisis and government are supposed to possibly, the essence of having government all over the world is to make life meaningful. To make life easy, to organize, create policies, enabling environment, security, what have you. But if we are facing food crisis and we keep widening our tax net, increasing things that's ordinary we should suspend and see that our inflation drops. You keep seeing like just what happened last week.
Right.
We are the electricity tariff that that was pegged at 66 was hiked to almost 300%. And before you know it, you begin to hear red bands, band A, band B, band C. Whereas the salary structure of Nigerian workforce still remain the same.
Mm-hmm.
What do you need? It keep reducing the purchasing power. Even the means of doing business in Nigeria, both small and medium business enterprises, many will fold up.
Right.
With regard to, in fact, many will, if you cannot find an alternative way of surviving, they may result into crime.
But that takes us.
And the crime costs more.
Yeah, that takes us to the place where you've also rightfully mentioned, Niger State, in terms of we heard in the news too the fact that there has been some tractors that have been put in place. And there has been
kudos to the governor.
Kudos to the governor. I think the president, if I'm not mistaken, was there to is it launch that process and all of that about, is it 500 hectares of land or something, was donated in that regard by the Niger State government to ensuring that we are able to at least create some sort of a breach in this regard, so that we are able to come out of the woods in terms of the food crisis. But while government has announced these various interventions and all of that, including the releasing of grains from the national reserves and providing subsidies for farmers, as we saw with the CBN, also getting out fertilizer, donating fertilizer, right, to the Ministry of Agriculture, to seeing that farmers are able to get to the farms and all of that. Yeah, all of these, the effectiveness of these measures still remains to be seen. In fact, during the newspaper analysis, we got a call from one of the family members, who said that, look, the fuel price is it seems as though Naira is gaining. But even as much as Naira is gaining, we're not seeing that reflect in terms of price of commodity in Nigeria, right? And so it brings us to the question of, hey, how can government ensure that these interventions are reaching the intended beneficiaries and making tangible impact on food security? Very important. How do you think?
Yes, I think the government on their own part, they are making interventions, but there are rules for improvement with regards to what they have done. I quite understand that the federal government also demanded from every state to give at least 500 head tax, apart from the one paid by the Niger State. So it is something that is expected that all states donate for this agric intervention and what have you. But then I think there are better options I think we can do. Yes, we have seen CBN donating hundreds of bags, millions of bags of fertilizer to the agric ministry.
Yeah.
But I think there are better ways we can do it through the local government, through the wards. It's not just something that you just release to minister. At the end of the day, it becomes a party thing. If you are not a member of party, if you are not a supporter of SYZ, you will not get what is needed for you to grow. I think the best way we can do this, we have seen the impact of some of the states that are doing very well with regard to food crisis. We saw what some local government chairmen did at Lagos State, where they did have subsidy on the food products rather than giving palliatives. They see how they can slash the prices of this food. But then all these interventions without regards to improve security. I'm a farmer, and I'm into livestock like poultry and what have you. Few years back, under President Muhammad Buhari, when he said I had a farm here in Abuja, but my farm is a bit out of the town, somewhere in Zuma. Zuma is in Buhari area council, just very close to Shere.
Yeah.
Now, I had a terrible experience that anytime I remember it, I feel frightened to my bone marrow. I planted maize, that is corn. When it gets to harvesting, getting to my farm, I saw that is uncountable number of cows in my farm with the headers. While the cow is busy demolishing, eating, they were cutting the one they will cut and put in their bag. I look at them and I don't know how to speak Hausa, and I don't know what to do. What I was only doing, Sanu, they will laugh at me. I wasn't crying, but the tears was coming out. You understand?
Yeah.
And I left that place. Vow not to go to that area or a far place. Instead of going for such level of farming, I look for small piece of small place that I can just get one I can eat near my family.
Subsistence, right?
You understand?
Not for commercial anymore.
Yes. Now you see, person like me have gotten discouragement in that area. Loans I obtained from bank, money invested, just gone like that.
Just went down the drain.
But I thank God that I have my life. What about those that are not in Abuja? Those in those states where you are doing intervention, there are reports that say that show that some farmers in certain states, many states, before they go to farm, they have to pay tax to criminals,
right,
bandits, terrorists. To harvest their product also, they pay the same taxes. So you see that no matter what you do, okay, now Naira is appreciating against the dollar, but it's not reflective in our food value, in food prices. That is to tell that most cases it's not even dependent on those areas. We need to go inward to see that we secure our land, not minding whose ours is good with regards to intervention on security. If we secure our land, certainly a lot of things will improve. And all over the world, we have seen that government do a lot of subsidy to enable production. Here, rather than government giving us subsidy, they are removing it,
so
making life unbearable.
Yeah. So, comrade, can we say that some of these things, just like the story you shared, right? Your personal experience and all of that, and the stories about farmers having to pay to get to the farms and even to harvest. Can we say that these are the things that have also culminated in the food crisis that we experience in today in Nigeria?
Oh yes, oh yes, oh yes. In fact, it's not just that. You see, okay, let's even look at infrastructure. Aside the stories I shared and this question you asked, look at infrastructure. Look at the fuel prices. A situation, maybe you harvest, you go to your farm, maybe your farm is about 5 kilometers away from the market, and you harvest your farm, and ordinarily to move your produce from the farm to maybe to places where you will sell it. Maybe in the past it costs you 10,000 naira, and all of a sudden you are spending over 70,000-80,000 naira to move them.
Yes.
What do you think will happen? Now, I'm a poultry farmer today. I tell you from point of authority of information that from January to date, we have had over 8 increase in feed. You go today, you purchase at 15,000 plus. You go after a week plus, maybe 10 days after, you are hearing that it's 16,000. You go back again, you are getting the price at 17,000. You go again, it's at 18,000 plus, and so on. You understand? Now, if you make your budget based on the price you purchased, and decide, okay, maybe this farm, for example, will be good for consumption in the next 7-8 weeks or the next 3 months, and maybe at the rate you purchase those day old and purchase the fertilizers and maybe some vaccines or medicine that you use to keep them healthy, and you make your calculation, you say, okay, those are the 7 weeks will be between 3,700-4,000 as the case may be. And you go back to purchase those things with your calculation. You come back that you discover that even your production cost is heading to 4,300 as against your initial projection. You understand? You manage, okay, maybe that situation we find ourselves not minding the power sector that is grid has always been collapsing, buying fuel and others. You go back after a week or 2 weeks, you discover that there's no stability in those prices. So these are part of the things that affects the prices of food, not just some of the things. It's a general setting. I think the leadership we have today, the leadership of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, have shown a massive hope with regards to steps they are taking. But they can even do better. They can do better. The areas they can do better is the areas of this subsidy they are removing. They shouldn't. Okay. We have had the government telling us maybe by December Dangote will come on stream, by January Port Harcourt refinery will come on stream, and so on and so forth. Up to April, it's still the same hopeful. I think it's time we need to hit the ground running.
All right.
If those things to come on board, it will certainly reduce the price of fuel. And once the price of
Okay, are you there? Hello? Right, okay. Well, we'll still try to connect with our guest in a short bit. Let's just open the phone lines right now. You two can have your say in the conversation. Be a part of the conversation. Join via phone call, as you also put that call through the studio. And the number is 0907 353 0044 or 0908 766 8888. The WhatsApp portal number is 0909 705 4450. Keep in mind that you can send a voice note to the WhatsApp portal message number too as well. And of course, send a WhatsApp message to that number. Let us into what you think, could be the way out in this regard, looking at the food crisis in Nigeria, even against the backdrop of seemingly giant strides, when we are making in terms of the Naira gaining against the dollar. We've got a call. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning, Nacha. Sorry,
It's fine. It's
How
okay.
you doing?
Fine,
good
thank
morning.
you.
I greet our guests. My
Okay.
name is Bibi Bless. I'm calling from Otako.
That's right, Bibi.
See,
Welcome.
now go just dey carry matter dey call for this lady. Make we put mouth wetin go be the effect, wetin go be the solution. I tell you, say okay, this way we dey be solution call for this lady. Can our president use the solution work? The issue now, see, if our president want to listen for us, if you want to quench the effect, the hunger wey dey for Nigeria, do this. I tell you, one issue of security. People wey dey go far, make dem guide them so that if you do go dey surplus. Two, may our president carry our fuel come down for us. We know say as the removal subsidy is done, e no take 2 minutes before e announce am. People dey hungry today. If president really want to do the work of God for us, if he really want to hit the ground running, may he bring fuel come down. Wallahi, if the dollar be 1 naira today, when last fuel never come down, we still dey talk the same thing. We go still talk for January till now. Now we are April. They tell us say March everything will be surplus. Now so that they give us hope. Now hope we don't do for us. Now to action we want, not be to college we go dey talk. They say even the people they insult us now say the talk wey we dey talk say who dey answer us. We want make president prove for us say he dey answer our call, he dey lis ten for us. Not be to say I see our pay. I don't know the time we go take see our pay. If person cut leg, he say see the pay. He no go hit the wood. Please, make carry for come down for us. Price of steel go come down.
Right.
God bless
All
you.
right, thank you, Baby Blessing. All right, you've heard, comrade, you've heard BB Blessing right there. BB Blessing saying that look, enough of the promises, enough with the promises. It's time for action. We want to see the change. We want to see it happen. It has to happen to us, right? Before we would believe and accept that indeed all of these reforms are indeed targeted, to the average Nigerian. Let's hear from another caller. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Odwok.
Yes, good morning to you.
Mr. Odwok.
Yeah, what's your name, please? What's your name? Where are you calling from?
My name, I remain Chidin Dubisi.
All right, Chidin Dubisi. Welcome aboard.
My brother, listen. What is happening in this country is simply man-made.
Okay.
The simplest thing to do in this country and help Nigerians from all this suffering is to bring our refineries to completion.
Right.
My brother, if diesel come down to 500 at least, it will get better. Okay, my brother, food from the farm to Abuja here in the North Central cost over 1.5 million. What do you think will be the price of the rate of end users, the same Nigerians? So looking at Dangote refinery is to deceive Nigerians. Let them repair our refinery and give us fuel, give us power. This will get better.
Right.
They don't want to do it. They are suffering people for nothing.
Okay.
I'm sorry for this country.
All right. Thank you,
Thank you.
Chidi. Thank you so much. Comrade Kachi, you've heard that so far. What's your response to this? I mean, many talked about the need to bring down the price of fuel and that things will change. We've got another caller saying that it's about getting it rightly with our refineries and not depending on the Dangote refinery.
Yes, certainly there's no way we can depend on Dangote refinery, and nevertheless, the impact of Dangote refinery cannot be explained because it has capacity to produce over 650,000 barrels per day, and which means it can meet our daily consumption. But then I'm happy to also inform us that we have over close to 20 different refineries that are going to be coming up, both the modular refineries, the smaller ones, and even the mega ones like the Port Harcourt, Warri, and the Kaduna refineries. So if these refineries, of course, we have refinery at Akwa Ibom that I'm sure that before the end of the year it will come on stream. And we have other ones that are still privately owned. If all of them come, there'll be competition in that sector. Thank God to the PIA bid that was assented to by the former president. It gives room for those interventions. So if there's competition in that sector and the government-owned refineries are working, certainly price of crude, price of petroleum products like fuel, diesel, it will certainly drop. I'm sure of that.
And it will have an impact. It will have an impact.
Certainly, but then, just like one of the first callers said, we need to secure our farms. This, thank God that's why I say I see leadership in this current administration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. There are a lot of massive and giant steps taken that are very, very commendable. The issue of state policing, why they are still looking at it with regards to constitutional amendment, we can get our forest guard back.
Okay.
Forest guard will help to guard the forest. We help to guard farmers. Each locality, each autonomous locality can set up their own security because security is local. We just reject the way we are doing things. It shouldn't be a case of where I'm coming from, maybe from FCT, you send me to Port Harcourt to go and the police those areas, or maybe I'm coming from Sokoto, you are sending me to Lagos to go, and it should be the locals managing their security. There will be a lot of improvements.
All right, let's put a peg to your thoughts and take this call. Hello. Okay. Good morning.
Yes. Barrister, good morning.
Good morning to you, Obasanjo. How are you doing?
I'm cool, fine.
Very well.
Barrister, God bless your heart.
Yeah. Go ahead, Obasanjo.
Thank you. Our guest over there has put very well, sir. In fact, I love what all the comments our guest over there has said it all. Like, we usually complain that Niger State, like you people talk. My barrister, I am in the community that the governor said he only declare, it's on newspaper that you people usually see all these things. He declared my community, my present community, my community as I talk, that he said he give more than thousands of hectares. That we have not seen anything. Any government official has not arrived at that place. So, and this is, rain season is approaching. What is happening? The palliative, I am telling you, there's nothing to show about the palliative. Nothing about to show. You cannot see, they have sold the palliative. They have sold the palliative to the marketer. And when this issue of palliative will come, my barrister, see, the food will rise up again. When in them pain in the country, when them pain in the state, as I'm talking to you. How many contractors, how many tractors that the governor pushed out to Niger State? They cannot see, they cannot do in one local government.
So, Obasanjo, let me ask you, what do you think could have been done better to better the situation?
Sir, I am telling you, government need to reverse the subsidy.
Okay.
If the government reverse the subsidy, I am telling you, the crisis of what the insecurity, the food crisis, the pains that you see, everything will come up and stop.
All right, Obasanjo, straight to the point. You said it. Thank you. Comrade Kachi, what's your reaction to this one now?
Yes, I quite agree with the last caller. We should return back our subsidy. It's obvious now that the narrative that was presented to us as a people, then when the removal of subsidy was going on, that subsidy is only the rich that benefit, those that have plenty gas. It's obvious today that the impact is much harder on even the poorest of the poor than the so-called the rich. It's also obvious today that even the removal of subsidy on what do you call it, tariff has also impacted in a lot of businesses, which you will be surprised that inflation that we are talking about as at 33 points now. Before the end of this quarter we have just entered, if we are not careful, we go up more than that 33. There's no thriving or booming economy in the world that you don't see their government subsidizing a lot of this to aid production. If we are maybe looking at generating tax, getting more money because of the challenges we find ourselves due to bad leadership in the past, where we are borrowing with reckless abandon, with us giving cost to tomorrow. Where we find ourselves today that we borrow to fund our budget.
Right.
Because I'm sure that's one of the challenges this government is facing. That's why that they are looking for any angle they can use to raise money to meet up their targets and meet up their campaign promises. But then we should do it with the human face. We should do it with more civil approach. We should do it with caution. We should do it with regards that people are bearing these pains of increments that are very, very avoidable.
All right.
There are better ways we can raise funds without really stretching the Nigerian citizens. There are better ways we can do that.
All right, let's put a peg to your thoughts and just take this call right now. Hello, good morning.
Morning, Mr. Dua.
Yes, good morning to you.
Morning. My name is Honorable Edward Fanapo.
All right, Honorable. Welcome aboard. Let's have your take.
What is it?
Let's have your take, yeah. Welcome aboard.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Odwa, I appreciate our guest there. He has said everything. The issue, another issue that we need to look at it. We are talking about refineries. Would I find how long? He said within so time, this refinery will be
up and running.
Akwa Ibom, Rivers, and like that. So time. You know that we have been hearing this for more than how many years? Nothing like that has happened. No, it's only Dangote who is not to me is the best in Nigeria to have introduced or to have given us a refinery that has partially started working. Not as it because the fuel he himself is still promising that social town will start refining fuel and like that. So I disagree with our guest here 100%. And there is something we need to know. There's nothing wrong with the removal of any subsidy. There's nothing wrong with that. We will all yearn for that. We will yearn for that. That refinery should be taken because the cabal behind that refinery was taking the entire our money. Imagine you are subsidizing for electricity that is not there.
Right.
It's not there. There was no electricity. So that is subsidized for what is not even in existence. If we're talking about our fuel and all those things, in my nature, we are all in Nigeria. We knew very well that the cabal. You know, at a point, someone told me that one of the dealers said he don't need money in his life again, simply because he is part of those that will listen. I tried to know. I wanted to personally report that matter to the security. So if we are talking about this, let's also look at the other side. What are our governors doing? Udwa,
yes.
do you know that we are just talking about federal. What is happening to state government? Go to my state, Benue State. Just go and look at the revenue there. If anybody is going, farmers who are going to stay there in the market,
Right.
do you know that the revenue, illegal revenue, if you before you get what you are going to save for 10,000 naira, at times they pay more than 10,000 naira, or at times they pay 8,000 something. What are our farmers benefiting? Do you expect those people to be going to farm, or do you expect this where you have insecurity?
So, okay, all right.
We need to talk about our governor. The fuel subsidy that they remove, where is that money? Most of the bulk of that money is going to our governor. What are they doing with the money?
All right.
What are they doing?
All right,
we need
Honorable.
also to talk about that. We need to also monitor that. They should also answer everything to Mr. President, everything federal. Yeah.
Okay, all right,
Federal
Honorable.
government, they should amend the constitution so that everything will be going to the.
All right.
we remain with the federal government, not
Yeah.
state again, because states are the worst. They are the worst.
Okay.
That man that is being defended. Can you hear what that man said? He said national state government was behind the action to create how do you call it, in order to something, how do you call it, as any security man, as anybody responded to it. States are also behind what is happening.
Okay, all right, Honorable. All right. Yeah, all right. Yeah. Okay, so there's some concerns, strong concerns actually coming from Honorable Edwards. In fact, he has come from the place of why are we so much of a bother about the federal? What about the states? What about the states? What about the local governments? That these people must also be held accountable, to creating that atmosphere. After all, they are also part of government and governance, right? And then he has raised issues of where are the monies that have been saved from subsidy removal? Where are they? And if they've been given to the state governors, what are they doing with it? Comrade, there are also talks that there is a need for us as Nigerians to move away from the dark ages style of farming to a mechanized system of farming.
Mechanized farming.
Right. But that would have aided us and helped us, very much in terms of our outputs, in terms of food and all of that. But just before you get your reactions up, let's take this call and then you get your reaction out. All right? Okay, that's a miss. Well, you want to bring your reaction in at this point, you can call the number.
Oh, yes.
You can call the number 0907-353-0044 or 0908-766-8888. Comrade.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yes, the need to move into mechanized farming cannot be emphasized. It's in fact, you see, I use Netherlands, that is Holland, as a reference point when I started.
Yeah.
One of the impacts of what have made them to get to the top 5 is because they are making maximum use of mechanized farming. China is also doing that, and many other, like even Ukraine are doing that. That's why I say kudos to the governor of Niger State and even Borno and many other governors that are doing that. And I think recently we also saw the governor of Anambra State, that's Soludo, go doing that line. I think it's time we try to ensure that each ward in this nation have at least 2 to 3 tractors. Where government can subsidize it for farmers. If maybe a small farmer that doesn't have capacity of purchasing one can easily hire one, even if it's less than 30,000 per day, it will go a long way, because a tractor that will enter any farm can just one day will cover more than a hectare of land. You know, and if you know the food value of what hectare can produce, you will be amazed. So if we can make it as a priority as a government, so okay, out of over thousands of wards we have in this country, we make it a point of duty that each ward in this country will have 2 to 3 tractors. You see, there will be a lot of improvement.
Okay, let's talk about, you know,
For example, in FCT we have 62 wards, and it's okay. FCT minister provide at least 400 tractors or 200 tractors, and they take those wards. Each ward will have more than 3 tractors that are functional. That's brand new, not the one that will work today, it break down tomorrow. In 5 years, we will be the food basket of Africa. The impact of what we will produce. If you have observed, most of our lands, you know, that are supposed to be a blessing to us, have been converted into use either for as a worship center, or if you are driving from, maybe, for example, from Lagos to Ibadan.
All right.
You look right, left, and center. What we see is worship center, worship center, worship. Have you asked yourself, those areas, if we have converted them only just to farming, how rich we can be as a people?
All right, comrade Okachi, I would love to have you know, driven this conversation further, but I want you to give just one sentence of you know, as to, you know, what you feel should be the way forward. Just one sentence. Time is not on our side right now.
Yes, the way forward is we need to restructure.
Okay.
Give more powers to the locals, you know, which I have seen the government have started in one way or the other. We need to restructure. Okay. Again, we need to bring back subsidy in petrol, subsidy in power.
Okay, for now, right?
Improve our situation.
All right.
Yes.
Well, we cannot go any further. Thank you so much, Comrade Okachi Gerald. You're the National Coordinator, Initiative Against Human Rights Abuse and Torture, as well as the National Secretary, Committee for the Defense of Human Rights. You're a human rights activist, public affairs commentator, and social analyst. Thank you so much for your time with us.
Thank you.
Right.
Good luck.
Yeah. Well, that being said, we should also slip this one in. It says, "Good morning, Daniel. Keep up the good work. I'm listening to you from Nasarawa State. The mirage of hurdles Nigeria faces today is endemic and may take time to solve. However, the Nigeria government at all levels needs to join hands to solve this problem. All the attention is focused on the federal government. Governments collect billions monthly without anything to show for it. They can't even pay minimum wage." That can be Hundu right there. Thank you so much for that. And this is where we call it a close on Eagles Outlook. Thank you for your time. Thank you for listening. Thank you for your contribution. And to what BB Blessing said, we will keep talking, and we will keep talking until the answer is given, right?